Good evening. This is CTV News for Monday, September 11th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Denise Douglas. So glad you could join us this evening.
Well, fallen police officers, firefighters, and emergency personnel are remembered on the 16th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. A ceremony was held in the district to commemorate the deadliest day in U.S. law enforcement history. 72 officers were killed in the line of duty that day, along with others who died due to illnesses contracted while performing rescue and recovery work.
Vincent Dons, Garrett S. Donza, Anthony DeJesus.
9/11 still remains the deadliest day in law enforcement history. We all remember the images of these officers running in and out of buildings, helping those who were affected in the terrorist attacks. One of the things we do here at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial is work to ensure that the memories of fallen officers are never forgotten. So it's very important to us that not only these officers, but all of our fallen law enforcement officers are remembered forever. And each year, we add more names of officers who died of those medical complications and diseases that they contracted doing rescue and recovery works.
Now, the names of the 72 officers are engraved together on the memorial's west wall. Those officers and others who died of illnesses related to rescue and recovery efforts can be found on the website lawmemorial.org/9/11 roll call.
In all, 24 residents from Prince George's County perished 16 years ago in the 9/11 attacks. The town of University Park lost 5, including a beloved family. CTV's Gina Barty has more.
It was a hard thing for the community to accept and for us to do it too. It's really an extension of your family, and it was very emotional for not just us, but for the block here and the community itself.
16 years later, Jim Geekus still has heartfelt memories as he recalls the day he learned his next-door neighbors and dear friends perished in the attacks on September 11th.
My neighbors who were here the previous night, September 10th, they said they were going to leave the town because everything was closed next door here where the house is, where they lived. Everything was gone. All the furniture was gone, and they were going to go to a motel or hotel nearby Dulles. And all of a sudden it started dawning on me they were taking American Airlines.
189 people died at the Pentagon that day. The Falkenberg family was headed to Australia on American Airlines Flight 77 that crashed into the Pentagon.
So they were excited because after all, you're going to another country and another adventure.
The University Park family of 4 was beloved and very active in their community.
This memorial was created in 2005 to memorialize the 5 residents from the town of University Park and all who lost their lives on 9/11.
Nestled in the neighborhood park, the memorial is made of black river stone, 5 boulders, and a hand-carved American elm bench that sits in the center, giving residents a place to remember and reflect.
I know on a personal level, as neighbors, you can't have better neighbors. That's the best way I can say it.
Gina Barty, CTV News.
And there are more memories from that very sad day in our history. This one, a story about a Prince George's County man who was in the Pentagon when American Airlines Flight 77 barreled into the building. Byron Scott has his story.
On September 11th, I got to work, I was sitting in the office.
It was September 11, 2001. Aaron Cooper was sitting in his boss's office at the Pentagon. They were watching the news.
We saw the second plane hit.
That second plane hit the South Tower at 9:03 a.m. 40 minutes later, American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon just yards away from where Cooper was sitting.
The first thing you heard was the building. You felt the building shake and the lights and everything flashing on and off. And then the next thing, was fire, smoke.
16 years after that tragic day, Cooper at times struggles to talk about it.
Give me a minute here. What I remember after that was being blown backwards, and I could see the fire stuff come into the room. I could see that. And the air pressure. You felt that, and it instantly, I mean, it just got hot instantly.
He followed the streams of daylight filtering through the dust-filled hallways, and that's when he and two co-workers decided to go back to rescue those who were trapped.
We tried, but it was too much smoke, and it was too hot to get back in there. We turned around, tried to get back in there again, and of course it was even worse that time. I got halfway down the hallway, and I froze. I can remember just stopping, and I'm thinking, there's people back there. I tried to go back one more time, nothing. So then I said, okay, I got to get out of here.
It was then that he learned that an airplane struck the building. Of the 125 who were killed on the ground, 7 worked directly with Cooper.
But I would listen to them.
Cooper sat down with CTV on the first anniversary of the attacks and spoke about them.
Carl Tappy, great guy, good sense of humor. And I think the hardest part for me, and I talked to my father about this, and like I was telling you, my father was a Marine. The hardest part for me out of all of this was the fact that I couldn't get back in there.
Several hours later, Cooper walked to his parents' home in Arlington, and later that night he got a ride back home to Maryland. By then, they knew he was okay.
We just hugged as a family and, was happy that I was there.
And I just remember him coming in the door, his clothes were torn up. He had black spots on his clothes.
His daughter, Blair, who now interns at CTV, was only 10 at the time.
I remember he came in the door, and me and my sister just ran to him and gave him a hug. And I don't even know if it was really because we thought anything in particular. I just know after I hugged him is when his clothes hit me, what he had on, the black spots hit me, everything else. But I think I was just happy to see him, my uncle.
I'm telling you, man, I've never felt no air pressure like that.
Cooper, who now works out of Bolling Air Force Base, may or may not go to 9/11 remembrances, depending on how he feels. He doesn't call his co-workers on the anniversary. For the survivors, it's about coping.
I can't say that I ever got past it. I've just learned to live with it.
Byron Scott, CTV News.
Very touching story. Miraculously, Cooper made it out that day without relatively minor injuries, and that's a good news there.
Well, as we mentioned, 24 people from Prince George's County lost their lives on that fateful day. As you may know, there is a park in Bladensburg dedicated to them. It's called the 9/11 Memorial Park. There are 24 large white crepe myrtle trees there that have been planted in their honor. The memorial sits right outside of the Bladensburg Waterfront Park. It was dedicated back on the 5th anniversary of the deadly attack.